Cryopreservation and vitrification has been a game changer in IVF. Vitrification or ultra-rapid freezing is one technique which in India and particularly in Bangalore, it was somewhere in 2008 that we had our first live birth after vitrification. This process of freezing the eggs has actually revolutionized the technique of freezing itself. Prior to it, we used to do something called as slow freezing, which used to have its side effects because of ice crystal development. But however, with vitrification, we see that the recovery of gametes and embryos is almost near to 100%. So if the embryo is of good quality, we are usually almost 100% sure that it should also come out live after thawing. Now, this kind of a confidence is given by vitrification, not only for eggs, but also sperms and embryos. Now, because of this confidence that we have in freezing the embryos, worldwide clinics are moving away from transferring the embryos in the fresh cycle. That is, in the cycle of IVF, when a person undergoes stimulation, we usually refrain from doing an embryo transfer in the same cycle, basically because when we stimulate the ovaries, the egg number is more, so the hormones are higher, and because of the higher hormones, the uterine receptivity will be lower. So fresh transfer is usually not done, and many of us have shifted completely to frozen embryo transfer, especially in normal responders and hyper-responders, for the fact that for a frozen embryo transfer has a higher conception rate because we're transferring in a cold situation. That is, ovaries are baseline, uterus is well prepared, and then doing a transfer gets us a better pregnancy rate. At the same time, we also avoid the risk of ovarian hyperstimulation by doing this. This is also one of the reasons, with the advent of vitrification, that women can now look at egg freezing. Slow freezing used to give us hardly a recovery of about 60 to 80% of oocytes and embryos. But with vitrification, the recovery is almost more than 95%. So with this kind of confidence that we have in freezing eggs, can now come across women who come in for freezing when they don't look at pregnancy for a longer duration. So women who have low reserve, women who don't foresee a pregnancy within 35 years of age, in such women, it's important that they can consider freezing their eggs so that they can have a good outcome eventually when they want a pregnancy. If we have to discuss the advancements that I see at the horizon, which may come possibly in another 10 years' time, one of the most important techniques is non-invasive PGTA, or it's called as NIPGTA. Non-invasive PGTA is a procedure wherein we analyze the fluid in which the embryo develops. So if we are culturing the embryos in single droplets, see, usually what happens, co-culture or group culture is what we do in an embryology lab, wherein within the dish we make droplets and put 2 embryos in each droplet. Now, suppose the same thing is converted into 1 drop per embryo. The fluid in which the embryo develops can be checked for the genetics of the embryo. This is a dream. If in case it works out, it's the best thing to happen. In this situation, we don't have to biopsy the embryo. There is no potential harm to the embryo. So there are several advantages of a non-invasive PGTA. We are hoping that this should get refined. At present, it is known that the fluid, the genetics in the fluid, or the DNA that is found in the fluid, it's called as spent media, the media in which the embryo develops. If the DNA in the spent media, is it same as that the DNA of the inner cell mass, that is the baby? That is the challenge, or that is the thing that we have to crack. So at present, it is known that NIPGTA is accurate to the extent of 60 to 80% across different techniques. But however, because of the low accuracy, it is still not in vogue and not widely used. But however, when this technology gets refined and we reach at least a 90 to 100% accuracy between the spent media and the inner cell mass, is when NIPGTA would be a common procedure that we may adopt in our lab to enhance the selection of embryos. A few other techniques that can come in the future is lab-grown eggs. Well, yes, there have been some advances that are happening with respect to developing a sperm or an egg from a stem cell. So getting gametes from a stem cell is a far-fetched thought, but however, there is a high possibility that this may happen in the future. It's difficult to predict when this may happen, but once a breakthrough happens in this area, we may come across lab-grown eggs wherein from the stem cells of a lady, we could create an egg and help her in having her own genetic child. The next one is an artificial womb technology. This is something that I have seen many people looking at their WhatsApp, wherein you see capsules of artificial womb where a baby can be grown. This is also a distant dream. It will take a lot of time before this can be implemented as a routine practice. Robotic surgeries have become a common thing nowadays for gynecological disorders, principally myomectomy, endometriosis, and even hysterectomies. Similarly, robotics can come into infertility too. For example, RoboICSI, wherein it might help us select the best of the sperm, have more precision in doing a ICSI procedure so that there are no human errors at the time of ICSI, giving a better outcome eventually. There may also be a procedure wherein a robo may be used for oocyte aspiration, for embryo transfer. These are all distant dreams. Once they come in, it would be helpful in normalizing and standardizing the whole procedure, eliminating the human bias and errors completely in the lab. IVF and ART procedures have improved remarkably in the past decade. So I foresee that it will not be far, maybe a decade or two. I'm hoping it will be in my lifetime that we are going to have 100% success with ART. This is one procedure that has given women a lot of independence with respect to their women's health. I really hope and pray that there will come a time that women have more freedom, more independence with respect to how they want to choose and plan their reproductive life.